Well, Tom, one of the fascinating things about tax today is how quickly it's changing from what we used to do to speed of change and just incessant law change. But you come at this with a particular perspective. Tell me a bit about your background.
Well, Rodney, I lead KPMG's development and deployment of our International Tax Reform Analyzer. It's a globally effective tax rate modeling tool, and it's Excel-based, and clients can get access to it. It's been in place for a little over 4 years. We have approaching 900 clients that have used the tool. And we chose Excel for several reasons. One of which is that we can, react to change, which is happening all the time, and get new functionality into the tool. We also chose it because it's transparent, so you can trace from the outputs to the calculations to the inputs, and get comfortable with how the formulas are being applied. And it's also something that we're familiar with and our clients are familiar with.
So that's really interesting, Tom. So, and what are clients and future clients' reactions to this? Because I can imagine that in the past, a lot of people, when they were thinking about modeling, it's probably kind of more high level. So how have things changed?
Well, with the details of the rules, right, that it's only gotten more complicated, right? So you can't do a back of the envelope calculation. And ITRA has two outputs that are very helpful, for global heads of tax. There are green tab output reports in the tool that are very detailed, organized by tax rule, and can be extracted from ITRA and provided to auditors. So they go through the inputs into the tool, the calculation flows per the rules, and the outputs. The other type of output is generated by Power Business Intelligence, or Power BI. And those are the colorful, high impact, charts, graphs, grids that can be shared with a CFO, because, new proposals are coming out, fairly frequently, and they're likely to get asked, compare, my company's globally effective tax rate under TCJ versus Build Back Better, for example.
That's really interesting. And I suppose that sort of flexibility is useful when an enterprise is thinking about its tax risks and tax examinations by tax authorities too.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always change, right, in a business environment for corporations. So whether it's an acquisition or disposition or some, audit and analyzing, that ITRA is used for those planning scenarios, all of the above. Any one or two-sided journal entry, adding entities, check the box selections, expense allocation, changes, etc.
Just fascinating. And then I can imagine that effective tax rate is one thing, but there's a whole host of other things that heads of tax think about. How, if at all, does this link into other technologies or systems and processes?
Yeah, so KPMG, of course, has a whole suite of technology tools. We could spend the whole day talking about all those. I'll mention a couple. So ITRA links to a tool we call Tax Compliance Connector. And so the calculations in ITRA can be mapped to mock IRS forms to facilitate review of those in that format, prior to linking to e-filing platforms to make the compliance process, very efficient. The other tool that I'll note is called Previously Taxed Earnings and Profits Model. And so instead of the global ETR, the PTAP model is focused on movement of cash from, say, entity A to entity B, all the way to a U.S. parent, and foreign currency gain or loss implications, withholding tax, foreign tax credit haircuts, and anything associated with repatriation.
That's fascinating. And so complete linkage. And then as you talk to folk about this, what are folks' reactions and what do they tend to think about next after the discussion, Tom?
Yeah, so we're always happy to present a demo of ITRA and, more background on, where it's been, where we're going, as well as show you the tabs of the ITRA model itself, the input tabs, the calculation tabs, the green tab output reports that I've mentioned. And then, the logical next step is usually a sandbox session. So we allow companies and their tax departments to get a version of ITRA on their own desktop, and they can poke around all those tabs I mentioned and ask questions and get comfortable with it. So that's usually the process.
Well, and I can imagine it must be working out quite well, because did you say you have approximately 900 business entities using it, including some
that includes Fortune 10 companies. So again, this is it's in its fourth year. It's hard for me to believe, but it's been around quite a while. We're always adding new functionality as well. One of the things that we're looking this year is to get it linked to Digital Gateway, which is our cloud technology platform. So that's in the works. So stay tuned for that.
Well, things are not keeping still. So this is fascinating, Tom. So clearly something that lots of businesses need to be thinking about this in this world of consistent tax change. How do you get some solidity and reliability to the numbers you're using for modeling and effective tax rate purposes?
Yeah, technology tools are, of course, key. So I appreciate you allowing me to talk about ITRA.
Well, really nice catching up with you, Tom. You have a good day, okay?
Thanks. You too. Appreciate it, Rodney.